Welcome to another video about how to get Amazon, Dell, and Walmart business credit cards, among others. And the focus and the real take home here is doing it without a personal guarantee. That's the most important thing we want to do. If you don't know, I'm Joe Nilsson, President and CEO of Clear Capital Group. And what we do is we do business and commercial real estate financing through a multitude of lenders and other service providers that we work with across the United States. So business credit, as you may know, is credit that you get in your company's name or the legal entity that you're doing business out of. It's not linked to your Social Security number, however, it is linked to your EIN. So your business entity is essentially being your new individual or a clone of yourself is how I like to put it, so that people can really wrap their mind around it. And what this means is that you as a person, you don't have to put your own signature on things and saying, hey, I'm going to pledge all of my personal assets like my house, my kids' future, my retirement funds, my cars, whatever. And instead, it's going to go entirely on your business, which is great. And you can also get most business credit without you, the business owner, supplying that personal guarantee that we just mentioned. So as we go through this, that's going to be a reiteration because we really want to talk about that and get that really firm in your mind that it is possible. It's just a process, and if you don't know the process, then it is impossible. And that's what we endeavor to do here, is teach you how to do it. No personal guarantee is needed in most cases, and a really great thing is that consumer credit is entirely based on your income, your credit score, how you've used your credit in the past. Various items go into creating that. Whereas your business credit, it's based on does your business pay on time? And it also creates a lot larger or higher limits because lenders inherently know that to operate a business, you need a little bit more cash flow or capital to operate and be successful. And so your limits are a little bit higher as well. Another very important thing to know is that personal credit takes years to establish, whereas business credit takes very short time. Typically between 90 and 150 days, you can create a good credit score very fast. And if you ever intend to sell your company to a third-party buyer, if you plan to bring on additional equity partners in the future, having a good business credit really increases the value of your company, because that means to those buyers or those equity partners that they can leverage that to get additional working capital to grow and expand and do whatever they need. Credit issuers and lenders can deny you based on your credit name. So here we're going to get into the credibility points and check boxes and things that you need to know and comply with in order to be in good standing moving forward into the application process. So we want to make sure that your business name, starting right out of the gate, is not something that's listed in a restricted industry. Because if you have a name that says, restricted industries are going to be high-risk industries, and we will steer you clear of those. What we want to do is be very general in the name, like Joe's Management Company or Paul's Senior Management or Holdings or something like that. And when we get talking on a personal level, one-to-one consultations and things like that, we will go through what your business operation actually is and come up with a general name for that. When it comes to your documents, you want to make sure that your exact business legal name is the same on everything. Your phone bill, your 411 listing, your website, your location, your DBA, all of that. It all needs to be congruent and corresponding. And there you go. Your corporation papers, your licenses and bank statements all need to say the same name. Oftentimes people will go and get a very almost secretive name, very vague, and then they'll do a doing business as, and then that will be the public front that they'll use, that the public will see. And when it comes to securing funds entirely on a business entity, that doesn't bode well. So the first step in building business credit is to ensure that you have your business entity set up. Obviously, your business entity is going to be formed, and it's going to be registered with the state, the IRS, on all those kinds of legal avenues. And this is going to allow you to go out into the marketplace and provide a product or service. And we want to do it legally, so that is absolutely the first step. An entity can build business credit. Any of these entities. What we just need to do is make sure you have it first. To eliminate your personal liability, you'll need to choose an entity such as a corporation, whether it's an S corporation, C corporation, or an LLC. Tax ramifications don't really matter too much as far as securing credit here, but the entity it does. After your entity is set up, next you'll need to get your EIN for the IRS. Why? It's because all of the credit that you're going to be building and securing will report to this number. If you don't have this number, well, number one, your entity isn't really going to be legal and effective in the marketplace. But number two, everything's going to be personally signed, guaranteed if you don't have this otherwise. So this is your employer identification number. Very easy to get, and it's very fast. So there you go on the bottom. In order to legally be in business, you must have that. And there's a link to it. Feel free to jump on there, pause the video, or just Google how to get an EIN number. Quick caution here, don't use any other link besides the irs.gov. There are some companies out there who will say, pay us some money, we'll get it for you. That's not necessary. It's free. You can get it yourself, and it's very easy to do. Next, you want to make sure that you have a bank account set up with your entity and your EIN. Now, this is extremely important because credit issuers and lenders will look at your bank account setup date as the day that your company actually got started. So some folks come to me and they say, hey, we've had an LLC set up for years doing this kind of business over here, but we've just been using our personal bank account. Well, that's not going to fly well. A lender's going to see that and say, hey, you're effectively using all of your personal assets, including your bank account, to operate this business. So it's not a legal entity that we can lend to. So you need to make sure that you have a separate business bank account set up for your legal entity for that particular business's operations. And the sooner the better, because that will help to establish time in business. And a lot of banks will only require a deposit of $50 to $100 to start the account, and it's pretty much like a personal account. There's no other real setup fees involved. Some banks obviously will be different, but very simple to do and very crucial that you do that. So here's a couple things you need to know. Even if you've had issues with bank accounts before personally and are listed in the check systems, which all banks and credit institutions use, you can still set up a business bank account, even with the same bank that you actually had issues with, because it's literally a different entity that you're setting up with. So it's as if you cloned yourself, again, to use that analogy, and walked into that bank and said, hey, I want to set up another account, but I'm a new entity. And so they'll look at that and go ahead and let you set something up. If you owe the IRS money or others money, they can't pursue your business bank account to get the money that you personally owe. So this is another important point. It provides a layer of protection and separation between you and your personal assets that a lot of people simply overlook or don't know about. So as we're going through the process and you're going to banks and credit unions, eventually these banks will look at your bank rating to make a decision whether to lend to you or not. And your bank rating is essentially what the banks will use internally as a credit score to look at the risk associated with lending to your business. For the best bank rating, you should maintain a balance of $10,000 or more in that bank account. Now, if you don't have it to start off with, that's perfectly fine. And if your operations in the company don't allow for that, that's fine too. This just is a goal to shoot for, and once you get there, try really hard to maintain it, because that will then, again, put you in the best position for the best possible ranking for credit. Your balance, however, will not affect your business credit building, but it will be important down the road as you apply for bank loans. So that's important as we're getting started to building these credit reports and profiles. Like I said before, you don't have to start out with a large deposit in your bank account. What we're doing is we're building, and building is only determined by paying bills on time. It's not determined, like it says here, on your balance. Again, one more credibility checkbox is what we like to call them, is you need to have a real physical address. You can't use a P.O. box or a UPS address. And if you don't have a business address, do not use your home address. Instead, set up a virtual address with a place like Regis or other folks. And what that will do is when a creditor or lender is looking up your business, trying to see if you're a legit business, they are going to pull up a website and a listing. It's going to show that you're actually at a brick and mortar place with a receptionist, with a meeting office place, with dedicated phone lines and computers and all that kind of stuff. It will show to the creditor that you are legit. And a place like Regis is not super expensive. You can do it on a budget, but it's imperative that you have some form of a physical place. So here you go, a little bit more about this. It's the perception of being in a big office building without the costs. Your phone is super important as well. You shouldn't use your personal home phone or your cell phone. There are plenty of applications online, very cheap, some free, where you can get a real business phone number, a 1-800 number, and a local number with a voice over IP. And what that essentially does is it utilizes the internet networks, and you can forward a business phone number straight to your cell phone. So you can have the appearance on websites and letterhead and things like that of being a real big business by having a 1-800 number or otherwise. And if you're a single operator, it will go straight to your cell phone or to a phone number of your choice, whether that's a receptionist or some other thing. So that's very important to have. So here it is. You want to get a toll-free number as well as your local number, and ensure that you have a fax number. The majority of these voice over IPs companies will have a voice to fax application. So that's not a problem at all. Again, super cheap, $10 a month, something like that. In addition, you want to use a service to list in 411, and this is very important to get approved for initial starter business credit. And that's where you have to start, is initial starter business credit. So make sure we have the 411 listing set up before we move on to getting those starter accounts. Another checkbox of credibility for you is a website that looks good, looks professional. It describes your products and services that you provide. And then it will also hopefully provide you with a professional email address, such as your name at yourcompaniesname.com, .net, .org, whatever it is. What you don't want to do is have something on there like PartyChick2000 or Rambo Muscle 34 at Yahoo or something like that. And you can get all of these through services such as GoDaddy or Namecheap, to name a few, and they're super cheap to do. Of course, we want to be legal and comply with the local laws. So get your license done in the municipality that you're operating. So your local city or township. And then again, make sure that your name is listed properly on all of your documents. All right, so here's something that a lot of people just simply don't know about, and if they do, it's super confusing to them. So let's try and keep it simple. So you need to get your DUNS number, and DUNS is simply a number that is issued by Duns and Bradstreet, which is a business credit score. That's effectively what it is. It's like a personal credit score, but for your business. And you can get this for free, and you can actually control it. So you'll go get it from Dun & Bradstreet. You can get it completely free. No need to buy any kind of package or management that Dunn's will offer you. You can get it for free. In addition, don't go to any other companies or things like that that say, hey, we'll get it for you, pay us $100 or so. You don't need to. Simply Google free Dunn's number and follow the link to go ahead and get that for your business. Building business credit is all about trade lines and what's called payment experiences. Now, payment experiences are exactly that. When you experience a payment, it gets listed and reported. And as you have many of those over the course of time, that will build up to be a history of payment experiences, and that's essentially what we're going for. So a payment experience is the reporting of an account to a business bureau. So there's 3 business bureaus, and we'll talk about that in other videos and things. Dun & Bradstreet and Experian is what we're talking about here. So for example, if an account reports to Dun & Bradstreet, which is one bureau, and Experian, that's another, then it counts as 2 payment experiences. Even though it's a single bill, maybe that you paid to one vendor for your business, it's being reported twice, once to each of those, and that's great. But if the account is only reporting to one, and sometimes that's the case, it only counts as 1 payment experience, and that's fine. Oftentimes you can call them up and say, hey, can you report to my Dun & Bradstreet and my Equifax in combination with the Experian, and then you'll get your 3 payment experiences. So the more the better, as long as they're good and on time. To effectively build your business credit, you have to be able to monitor your business credit reports. So a lot of folks recently, in the last decade or so, a lot of these online Credit Karma, Nav.com, and a host of others have come online where you can, as a consumer, monitor your personal credit, right? And you can say, oh, that address is a place I've never lived at, so you can dispute that, or I wasn't actually late here, and you can dispute that. Same kind of thing happens with your business credit, but there's actually more control. But it's really important that you have access to those, you know how to access them, and you know how to manage them so that you can build them properly. You'll need this information when it's time to apply for more credit to continue to build on your credit profile and your score. For example, you'll need to have 5, and this is a hard number, 5 payment experiences before getting approved for revolving store credit, such as Dell, Best Buy, and Amazon. So now we're finally getting into how to get Dell, Best Buy, Amazon, and other store credit cards without personal guarantees. And you have to build up to that point. And for a lot of things, you're going to have to build up to that point. Just like you don't skip mathematics in the 4th grade and go straight to calculus. You have to learn the steps and build upon the steps in order to get to the higher, more complicated things. And you need to establish a history, and that's what we're doing. So you'll need to be monitoring your credit, these business credit reports, so you know when you have 5 reporting. So now you can go ahead and apply for the next step and the next step as your business credit profile is building and building. So you should be monitoring your credit through Experian and D&B, and you can go directly to their sites to enroll for credit monitoring, or you can use a service like Creditera to get a snapshot of your reports. And if things don't look right, well, then you'll still need to go get the full reports from the bureaus themselves. Okay, so make sure you get vendor accounts first. A lot of people make big mistakes, and they go for in our analogy, they go for the calculus kind of cards instead of the starter cards, which is 1 + 1 = 2 kind of cards. And these are the starter vendor accounts that we're talking about. So once your business is new and it's set up and you've got your credibility set up with all of the criteria that we talked about earlier, it's time to apply for your new business credit. When establishing business credit, there's actually 3 types of credit you can get. There's vendor credit, which is called starter accounts that offer net 30 terms. So these aren't revolving. Essentially, you say, hey, I want this product. The vendor sends it to you, and then they invoice you for 30 days. Due at 30 days. And then you have your store credit, which is revolving credit cards available in retail stores like Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, and those. and you can draw down on the account, buy a computer, pay it back over time, and then use the money again. And then there's cash credit, revolving credit cards such as Visa and MasterCard, and these are the end of, or the end goal to continue to build business credit. These will allow you to make purchases wherever these cards are accepted, right? Just like on your personal side. But these are going to be, again, not personally guaranteed, which is fantastic. So these are the three types of cards, but we have to start with vendor, graduate to the store credit, and then graduate to the cash credit. And that process will establish our solid business credit profile. One of the biggest mistakes that business owners and entrepreneurs make when building business credit is that they try to apply for the store or the cash credit first, and they totally skip or aren't even aware of the vendor credit step that is necessary. And what this inevitably does is it ends up in a decline or rejection. It says, hey, sorry, we can't approve you for this loan because you don't have any business credit experience or payment experiences on your credit reports. So there you go. That's why we start with the vendor accounts. If you apply for store or cash credit without an established business credit profile and score, you'll be denied 100% of the time. We see this all of the time with our many clients that we work with. So you must be approved first with vendors. Then once those accounts are reporting and paying, then you can go and apply for your store credit and so on and so forth. All right, so let's take a look at some actual starter vendor accounts that you can get. All right, most stores like Staples, for example, will not give you initial starter credit, so don't even try applying there. And so you may be asking yourself, well, how do we know who will approve us and who won't, and so forth? Well, that's what this video is about. We're going to actually show you exactly where to go. So Laughlin Associates will approve you. Deal with corporate setup and compliance. They report to Experian. Only 411 listing and EIN are required. And as we go through this, you'll see that the requirements for different vendors are different, obviously. And so when we go through the credibility setup at the very beginning, it's important that you hit all of those points so that when you apply, you know that you're covered. So this will report in 30 to 60 days and a net term 30. Wonderful. Next one, Quill. They offer office supplies, packaging, cleaning supplies. They report to your Dun & Bradstreet. Must place an initial order of $50 or more, unless your DMB score is already established, and you may need to submit 2 to 3 orders before getting the net 30 account. See, so this is a process. Worst case, they'll put you on a 90-day prepayment schedule, and if you order items each month for 3 months, they'll typically approve you for your net 30 account. Boom. Gemplers, they provide work supplies and products. They report to Dun & Bradstreet, place initial order over $50, and select Invoice Me option. Here they will put your business credit, and if not established, they require you to put some orders first. So see, they understand that you're starting new, and they're actually going to help you. Their process helps you build that business credit. So if not approved, prepay for the order and keep purchasing $50 or more and choosing Invoice Me option until approved for that net 30 account. Here's another one. Reliable office supplies. As the name implies, it's office supplies and promotional materials. This one's great because they report to all three, Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. So you're going to be getting 3 payment experiences each time that they report, which is great for building your business credit profile. You place your initial order, then you request your order to be invoiced or billed to your company. They will pull your business credit. If not approved, again, keep ordering and requesting to be invoiced or billed. Once you establish a rapport with them, then they will offer you your net 30 accounts. Another one, Uline Shipping Supplies. And unbeknownst to me, before I got into this, is I had set up entities in the past for various businesses, and I would always get these Uline catalogs in the mail. I'm like, what are these folks doing sending me this stuff? I just chuck it in the recycle bin. What I didn't know is that I could have been building a solid business credit profile by utilizing this company. So there you go. There's the power of knowing. Shipping, packaging, and industrial supplies. Of course, they report to Dun & Bradstreet. You need to have a number in order to report there. They will ask for 2 references and bank references, and again, $50 or more. And here we go to vendor accounts. You'll need to have a total of 5 vendor accounts to start getting store credit. That's the graduation point, right? Start with your vendor accounts that are reporting, then you start applying for your store credit. I just supplied you with 10 that you can use, which is double from what you'll actually need. So find the credit that you need that will apply and be useful for your business. Go ahead and get those. Apply without using your social security number. Remember, we want to build our EIN, not our social security number. So get approved and start using that credit, and then pay your bills early. Super important. And then watch your business credit building in real time through the 3 reporting agencies. When you're applying for these vendor accounts, don't use your social security number, no matter what they tell you. If you use your social security number, then they will default go to that as the basis for reporting and approval. So don't even put it on the application. The only way to ensure that this doesn't happen, like I just said, don't even put it on the application. Just leave it blank. Here are some steps that are essential during this process. Find the vendors that you want to be approved for, the ones that you'll use the most, or the ones that will report the quickest. Either way, whatever your goals may be. Apply for those vendors. Keep in mind you may need to place a few orders in order to get the business credit. And this is a very, very small price to pay to get access to business credit, right? So some people, in fact, a lot of folks, when they come to me for business financing, first of all, they think it's going to be an application and approval within 24 hours, 48 hours, or a week or something like that. It's not how it works. Same thing with building business credit. It is a process. It takes time for all of these different independent parties to interact with one another and create that payment experience history. So if you're interested in building it, make sure that you're committed to do it. It is a process, but it's very, very worth it. Okay, once you have your accounts, make sure you pay them as soon as it's available. And your D&B Paydex score, or your Dun & Bradstreet Paydex score, is completely based on when you pay. Your Experian IntelliScore is primarily based on this also. So the earlier you pay, the better business credit scores you'll get. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Finally, you definitely want to monitor your business credit reports and watch them be reported. Here again, be a little bit patient. Allow for 30 to 90 days for them to report, and then contact the vendor. If for some reason they don't report, just call them up and say, hey, I'm using your services. This is my business. I'd really like you to report these payment experiences to the bureaus. Could you do that for me? And they will. And once you have 5 payment experiences, which with these 5 vendor accounts would be super easy to get, then it's time to move on to the store business credit accounts. And here you go. Once you have 5 payment experiences reporting, then you can start applying for and being approved for store credit. Keep in mind, again, just like your vendors, all of these applications will ask you about your social security number. You don't need it. Just leave it off of the application. Otherwise, they'll pull your personal credit, and if it's bad, you'll get denied. So here's the part where if you have bad credit, you can still build business credit and be approved for funding. But if you include that social security number, which accesses your personal profile, then you've essentially shot yourself in the foot. All right. Most major retailers do offer business credit as well as consumer credit. And you're very familiar with your consumer credit, right? Staples, Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, Raider Shack, Best Buy. You get the picture. Some sources like Staples and Home Depot might have more stringent approval requirements and want to see some big revenue coming into your business, and 3 years in business for approval of no personal guarantees. So again, we want to select the ones that are going to be most likely. So we prepare our profile and our application submissions based on the goals that we're trying to get approved for. It's strategic. Most of these folks or institutions won't require the time in business, requirements and the revenue requirements and so forth. So Dell, for example. So here we're going to tell you which ones that you can apply for, what they report, how they approve, and so forth. So they're looking for a Paydex score. Remember, Paydex is going to be your Dun & Bradstreet number. And in other videos, I'll give you the layout as far as how your payment history will build or result in different Paydex numbers. Here you go. Here's a business in 6 months to get approved. Now remember, your business bank account has to be linked with your business entity in order for that to be seen as credible business. So 6 months from the start of that linking of the business the business bank account and the legal entity. Since you spent 90 days building the vendor accounts prior to getting to Dell applications, you should have, at that point, been pretty close to meeting this requirement anyways. All right, continuing on. Here's what they're going to ask you for application submission: your company name, birth date, mother's maiden name, ID numbers including your driver's license and EIN. To get approved, call this number. This is not a revolving account, it's a net 30. This is important. They usually issue very high limits, but they'll also match your current limits. So if you only have a couple cars for $300 on your vendor accounts, then they're going to be similar. If you have a couple vendor accounts with 10,000 or more, well, these are going to be similar. Here you go. So the higher vendor limits you have before applying, then the more credit you'll get through Dell. Amazon. We all know who Amazon is. They report to all three, which is great. Again, to get approved with a no personal guarantee, you must have an EIN number and business for 3 years. That includes a bank account. You can get approved not being in business for 3 years depending on the quality of your business credit profile. So again, you've built a history, now you're going to apply. History is key. They may ask for a PG or a personal guarantee if there is some issue that they see or don't like with your business credit profile. But initially, when you're just like all the others, don't give them your social security number. Try going through the application process without it first. Okay, feel free to read through all that. Credit limits, again, are usually between $500 and $2,500. Not substantial. However, given the wide amount of products that you can purchase on Amazon for any type of business, that's a very, very effective and useful card to have. So there you go. Truly revolving, not a net 30 account, which is fantastic. Walmart, again, similar to Amazon, but it's going to be brick and mortar, although they do have some online shopping now. Again, they use your DNB or your Paydex score. And again, apply without your social security number to start off with. If you have enough multiple paid as a grade business accounts reporting to your profile, you should get approved without a personal guarantee. If you don't get approved due to lack of credit, then they'll give you the option of reapplying with a personal guarantee, very similar to the Amazon method. To get approved, you'll need to apply in-store or through fax. Again, remember, the credibility points that we talked about earlier on, having a fax number is important. And this is one of the reasons why. Again, this is a revolving card. And then once we've gone through the vendor cards, the store cards, now we're graduating into the revolving cash credit cards. So here we go. Once you have a total of 10 payment experiences reported to the business bureaus, then you can start to get your cash credit cards. Those are Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover, and all of those. And these cards you can use anywhere for any purpose, and not just the ones that are linked to a particular retailer like Dell or Amazon or Walmart. So it's recommended that at least one of your 10 payment experiences has a high limit of 10,000 or more before you apply for these ones. So as you're building your profile in the first 2 rounds with the vendor credits and the store credits, When you have a good history with them, you can call them up and ask for a credit limit increase. And as you do that, we're looking at a goal to get at least one of them up to that $10,000 mark. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and move on and apply for some of these cash credit cards. So we just walked you through the process, giving you resources on how to apply, where to apply, what kinds of information you're going to need, and that's what we do. We want to help teach you how to get Amazon, Dell, Walmart cards, and other sources of business financing with no personal guarantees. The object and the basic fundamentals of operating a business is to remove the operating business from your separate personal assets. Not only does it provide flexibility, autonomy, it doubles your lending or borrowing capacity, it protects your personal assets, it protects you from litigation, all kinds of fun stuff. So there's a lot of reasons to do it. We just showed you one of the reasons to do that. And thanks for attending, and we'll talk to you soon.